never been done before.
We the people tell the government what to do. It doesn't tell us. We the people are the driver. The government is the car. And we decide where it should go and by what route to do. We the people are free. And I hope we have once again reminded people that man is not free unless government is limited.
Well, howdy, folks. Yeah, last night I tried really hard to get a show out. I'm very sorry. I tried so hard. This hair almost grew a 15th of a bee's weasel, I can tell you. I was trying real hard to push it out, but it didn't quite happen. Nearly had an accident. So my apologies. We've been doing a little bit of work around here, trying to help Keith pack up his property and get out of the way, and trying to do a bit of work on the bus all at the same time. And last night I was left in a bit of a state where I fell over, went to sleep. So my apologies. It's not that you don't mean much to me. You mean the world to me. So does getting the bus together. And I felt very manly yesterday because I was a manly man doing manly things under the bus. When I say under the bus, I was sort of, parts of me were under the bus, and other parts of me just simply won't fit under the bus, which is a bit of a problem. But we will talk about that later. One of the things we did do today was pick up a whole heap of steel that was located around the property, including a big 4-post lift rig. And underneath it, we found this. Delightful, very cold, because this was like 7:30 this morning or 7 o'clock this morning. She was very cold and ready to shed by the look of her too. Very dull. But you might notice there is a graze on her further up the, well, I don't know if it's a him or her, to be honest, further up her back. And I can show that to you a bit closer. She was just in the wrong place underneath what we were lifting when we either put a fork in from the forklift or pulled it out. That is about, I don't know, what's 4 inches in today's language, centimeters? I don't know. 100 mil, about 100 mil long and probably 20 mil wide at its widest point. No, maybe not 20 mil, maybe 12, 15 mil. So a little bit painful. So, yes, Nurse Carl came out. What do you do with a very annoyed but as yet not fully warmed up red belly black snake that just has had its skin torn off it? And I wasn't so much worried about its skin. It'll replace that very easily. And snakes are not prone to infection like that kind of thing, so it's not going to worry it in that regard. What worries me is whether or not it was compressed and which part of the snake was compressed, because if it was its lungs, it could be a bit of an issue. So it had made itself quite comfortable hiding under a bit of steel that we were yet to move, so we left it there. And it stayed there for a couple of hours. The sun eventually came out here in Queensland today, and I tried to get a video of it, and in the whole, well, these things move pretty fast when they get a bit of warmth into them, and it's exactly what it did. It pissed off very fast, disappeared off into some long grass, never to be seen again. So hopefully that one's all good. For those of you interested in the magpie, and I know there's a turd of a human being who likes to think I love going around killing our fauna. Not a brave human being. I did offer to meet them. But the magpie family that hangs out here, I don't know. I think I've probably done a bad thing because now they know that they can get a feed out of me. And it's a morning and afternoon ritual with the other young'un. And they're not doing too badly at the moment. They're getting calcium rolled steak. They eat better than I do, Vincois. How are you, buddy?
Good, mate. Good, mate. Yourself?
I'm bloody tired, if I'm honest. Today we've had to move, to give people some perspective. We moved all Keith's housey bits out and into containers a couple of days ago. But Keith is God love him, is a diesel fitter, turner, tradie kind of thing who's worked on big equipment. Let me give you an example of the big equipment he works on. There are 2 fans for radiators out there that would be the size of the back of the bus each.
Wow.
I mean, they don't go on D10s or anything like that. They go on some kind of, huge earth-moving machine from a mine somewhere, or at least they did. He brought them home to do whatever because they get replaced, and I'm sure he has plans to put them in a shed somewhere because they'd be bloody magnificent vents. But so there's that sort of scale of thing. We had to pick up a hose today. Now, you wouldn't think this ordinarily would be a thing. This hose looked 4 inches wide, 4 or 5 inches wide, big metal clamps, like a fire hose, only bigger in diameter and a much stronger sort of rubberized thing. And the bloke that I was with said, "What's this? Is this like a fuel hose for a ship?" And I thought, no, it's probably a fuel hose for, like a big truck on the mines or a drag line or something like that. Anyway, Keith happened to come around the corner. We asked him what it was, and he said, "Oh, no, that's a compressor line." I was like, "What?" "It's an air compressor line." This is the kind of thing that you see them bolt onto the bottom of 747 jets to fill them with fuel. It's that kind of width. And that's just to push air. God, can you imagine the size of the compressor that's pushing the air through not one of those lines, but multiple of them? So sometimes scale is very interesting to be able to get that insight. I've never been onto a big working mine, so I've overlooked the big hole in Kalgoorlie. Vince has bed hair. That's unfair.
It's actually an illusion.
Yeah, it is too.
The professor hair hasn't come out yet. It's got to get a little bit longer.
And you've got that interesting background up behind you, so that's that's the one.
Yeah.
So you're a tad, yes, but you are a tad wispy on top.
Yeah. Need a little bit of a clean up, admittedly.
Now, a couple of things I want to talk about before we get talking about other things that we're going to talk about. Desi Freeman. No news. Police have ostensibly, at least they're telling the public, they've not given up the search, but they've certainly scaled everything back. They were, interestingly enough, a couple of weeks ago, talking to people in the town about a single shot that was heard post the events in Paulpunka about 20 minutes after Desi had done a dash. So they have, I believe, gone back to look in earnest in a sort of, they've spoken to a lot of people who believe they heard this gunshot, and they've tried to triangulate an area where it may have come from. So whether or not they've found anything yet, well, if they'd have found it, they'd be crowing about it. And at this point in time, it sort of looks like they're not, which is nice. So copper. Is copper theft a problem in South Australia? You know, people, when they're getting houses built, get their copper pipes or the copper pipes brought over and they get nicked the night they get delivered and before they can be installed, that kind of thing. Or they get cut out the night they have been installed.
Yeah, a little bit. It's not huge, but there is some that goes on.
With what I've been doing here with Keith for the last few days, he's had a lot of scrap that I've been taking and unloading. And a couple of the things that he had were big copper windings. So transformers, couple of transformers and this sort of stuff. So, by God, you get to work out moving those things around, can I say. But, you know, there's, we were talking about copper theft and how it's a big thing here in Queensland. And I suspect it probably is in certain other places. Well, how long do you think it will be before those people who are brave enough to come into a housing estate, which may or may not have people in it at the time, admittedly. And most of these thefts probably occur in the early building stages of these estates. However, they come in, they'll steal the copper, buy the ute, truck or trailer load, and get whatever they can for it. But they might do it 4 or 5 times a week. They might get $500 or $600 dollars every time they do it. So they're pulling in reasonable money. How long before they figure out that those huge fields of solar panels are full of silver? Now, admittedly, the silver isn't in bar form, or it's not like a 1 ounce or 2 ounce or 3 gram bar taped somewhere with a wire plugged in each end. They can't just go and rip that off. But how long before people start jumping the fence of those fields? Because, well, look, a typical home solar panel, 2 square meters, has about 20 grams of silver per panel in it.
The hardest part getting it out. The hardest part will be getting the silver out.
Well, this is where we talk to Rolly, because Rolly is the man who is very good at extracting silver, exceptionally good at it. I'm not suggesting anybody goes and steals solar panels out of the field here. I'm just saying there are criminals, and they will find this out by themselves. They don't need my help. But what does it say here? On a per area basis, some reports estimate 3.2 to 8 grams of silver per square meter of panel. In the big panels, which are 3 square meters or more, 15 grams of silver, up to, for like a very large module, which would be a 4x8, 32 grams. That's nearly an ounce of silver in one of those. For utility panels, you might expect in the order of 15 to 30 grams of silver in each, depending on the efficiency, the size, and the design. So I'm not suggesting for one moment people should be going out and tearing down solar panels and sending them to Rolly, whose address I could give you.
Subtle, boy, subtle.
I'm just saying that at some point in the future, I think we've identified where the next opportunistic criminals might go. Because if they have, look, God almighty, this is like one of these people who writes a murder book and somebody winds up dead using the exact same plot that was in the murder book, right? But if I tell you how to do this, it's going to be the perfect crime, and then somebody goes and does it, and I'm going to go and get the blame. So I don't want to do that. Reach out to me privately. Anyway, speaking of solar, I see the libs are stacking. Oh, God, yes. I'm glad you mentioned that, Deb. So are they really, is the $64,000 question. I know that they are going to walk away from net zero 2050, but they are still married to the idea that climate change is real to begin with, and that therein lies the biggest pitfall, I believe, in their whole process. There are many climate change deniers in their ranks, and certainly quite a number outside in the independent and One Nation. They may have had a bit of a swaying influence there. I'll be interested to see what Barnaby, I don't know if you've heard anything, Vince, since you've got up and, brushed the sleep out of your eyes. If Barnaby Joyce has made any noises about still leaving the Nationals now that the National Party seems to be broadly aligned with the Liberal Party in that they're kicking net zero in the ghoulies and going to go back to talking about coal, something else, and nuclear. So I think it's only smart, wise, useful. I'm just trying to find
More adjectives you can add.
I wanted to show you this. So this is the Waratah Super Battery just south of Sydney.
Isn't that the one that blew up?
Yes, that is. Now, you might say, now there is $1 billion invested in this so far, and there is the life and promises of, I'll figure out how to do this eventually. Oh, shit, Vince has disappeared completely.
That's
two
all right.
of us. No,
I'm
that's
good.
not good. Do that. No, that's even worse.
That's
Look,
all right.
there you go. Sorry, if you get motion sickness at home, I apologize for that. What was I saying? Yeah, right. So it's not just this business, right? Bear in mind, this battery business happens to be owned by who? BlackRock. Now, there are 3 transformers in this site. One of those transformers blew up and caught fire, did damage, and did such damage that it took another generator basically offline as well. And between taking the damage that the 2 of them have done, it has basically rendered the entire site unusable, meaning they're probably going to have to start again with the build. Now, it was due to open and start putting power into the grid in time for summer in Sydney this year. So it will be interesting for people in the Illawarra and in southern Sydney regions to see how your power is going to go this year now that they've, the coal-fired power stations are on a timed shutdown. So there still might be enough power this year to get Sydney-siders through, because God knows the government housing development plan hasn't built any houses with its $10 billion. Plenty of other people have, though, so don't know how much of a drain that's going to place on the power grid, but every one of those houses is very likely to have air conditioning, and the new Australians living in them, because, let's face it, we older Australians can't afford one, they'll be turning the air conditioning on. Have no fear. Have no fear. And Vince is doing a very interesting expose, educational doco-style review of the smart meters that happen in your home. And I think I can probably say some Voice of Freedom viewers have reached out to offer their perspective on what's going on there. Vince, I sent you some paperwork. Do you want to talk about that briefly?
Well, I'm hoping to try and put it together over the next week and have it out. But it is about how smart meters work, the truth, right? So I'm going to be fair and impartial on this. But it will tell the telling story that electricity companies can reduce the amount of amps going through into your house in times of peak emergency and stuff like that. But it persuades the fact that they don't have direct control over your air conditioner, because they don't by default.
No.
And I'll explain how all of that works.
Yeah, they have control in a different way. So
yeah, there is a way of control, but it's purely on reducing the amount of current that can be pushed into the house, and that's done by the smart meter. So
speaking of control, oh, sorry, keep going. I don't want to cut you off.
No, that's all right. So that'll be interesting. There's some diagrams, and I'm going to explain about IoT devices and how they work, and how you can opt in and opt out of those, and whether they can connect to smart meters and things like that. So it'll be a bit of an interesting little story, one that's not, it's a topic specific, but a topic longevity. So it's going to, you can watch this 6 months down the track and it's going to be relevant. So
I want to join Tony's business, recycling copper and wind turbines. I don't know. There's going to be a market for recycling some of those big solar panels, because a lot of them are going to fail, and they'll just replace them. They'll rip them out and replace them.
So what happens when they get hit by a decent hailstorm and crack? So yeah,
a field of pain. I would have thought that would be.
Really?
Boom, boom. Now, I was going to say something to you, and
or while
it
you're
was
thinking about that,
oh, speaking about fields of pain. Yes, sorry. Before the ASX today lost $46 billion, according to Sky News. If you watch news.com.au, it was 37 billion. Either way, that's big numbers with a B. And of course, what happened with silver and gold? Well, they just kept going up, which was as expected. We did say keep an eye on it. It's going to bounce back up. It's already at $81.19. It has been up to $83 in the last 12 hours or so, but keep an eye on it. Probably close a little higher by tomorrow morning. Gold is at 6,406, so it's back up over 6,400 again, which is very encouraging. And of course, if you want to go and get some of it, it's still not too late. Go to ainsleyBullion.com.au, and if you are buying online, which at the moment, because they've been very, very, very busy, and you don't want to stand in line because you are a very, very busy person, then you can buy online from them and they'll send it to you. It's all insured and you'll get it. There's no problems with it. AinsleyBullion.com.au. When you make your order, just put in the notes section, Carl, Voice of Freedom, and you will get a little discount, which adds up if you're spending a bit of money. So, and there are a few people who have broken open the piggy banks. I got a phone call from somebody the other day who said, well, you've convinced me. And I said, oh, yeah? What have I convinced you? I've gone and got the family fortune. And I said, oh, geez, go a bit easy. And this is an old bloke who lives on a farm out in Western New South Wales. And it turns out that he's had money that he won at the casino in Melbourne on a trip in 1987 or something. And he won a considerable amount of money, which he didn't want to tell his wife or kids about. So he tucked it all up inside some kind of old oil can or something in the shed and threw it up on a shelf in the shed and left it there. And that was the only thing that's written down is in his will where the kids can find it. Now he's got to go and change his will because he's taken that money out, had to go to a bank and explain where that money had been for so long, because the bank doesn't apparently need to accept older style Australian dollars. Did you know that?
If they've got the Commonwealth written on it, I think they still have to. There might have been a change in legislation that they put through, but as far as I know, it's still legal tenders currency. Well,
because we would have changed
as legal as you can be, considering it should only be gold and silver in the first place, according to the Constitution. But that's another thing.
It is, and soon you'll be able to learn more on FBN about that.
Yes.
All right, I want you to take a stab at something. If you are a minister,
hang on.
I don't mean a preaching kind.
Oh.
I mean the political kind. If you are a minister of a reasonably important, particularly at the moment, portfolio, what do you think is a reasonable amount of money to spend to go traveling around the world on ministerial type business related to your portfolio?
It's relative to whether it's a global portfolio or a local portfolio. So
very much a global portfolio.
Well, I mean, there was the perfect example where they all talked about the climate change and they spent millions of dollars to get people to a particular location when they could have done it on Zoom. So is it wastage?
So if you were the minister in charge of the e-safety commissioner's office, and
well, that's not global. That is not a global portfolio. That is a local portfolio to Australia only. So
I would have thought on a global
level,
dealing with all the big wigs, the Googles and the Facebooks.
Well, they have companies. They have offices here in Australia, and you've got Zoom. So, yeah, my opinion.
All right, then.
No.
So our Karen then, by that logic, shouldn't really be going offshore and spending any money anywhere. Would that be right?
That'd be my call. Maybe one trip a year if you're lucky.
So we've been left on the hook for $425,000 in travel for her expenses and the little team that goes along with her for the last 3 years. So that's a total for 3 years travel, so $110,000 a year each. The minister who's responsible for all of that has spent remarkably less, like a shitload less, on international travel and associated other bits. We're talking like still over $100,000, but I'm wondering why the E-Safety Commissioner has $425,000 in travel over 3 years. So call it 100,000, 100 and what is it, 50? Not quite $150,000 a year.
Yeah.
So,
well, my question is, why does she need to go to the World Economic Forum?
that was going to be my next question, because that's two of the big trips were to the World Economic Forum, where I believe she's been getting her instructions to come back here to Australia and just see how badly she can ram a very large square phallic instrument into a very soft, round, circular hole, and how much it's going to hurt us.
A lot. There's a lot of people that are making moves now. They're concerned about what's happening on Facebook and bits and pieces. I know that the My Place Australia Facebook page has been paused for 10 days as a sign of protest. So there's a lot of people that are really concerned about having to give away their digital or give away all their identities. So it, as a lot of political commentators will say, it's just wrong. This is a hill to die on before they just lock us in so deep that we can't do anything about it. While I'm thinking about any guys, it is a bit of a quiet news night tonight. So if you have a question you want to throw up in the chat, it is a free-for-all night, so throw it up.
Davos is expensive, says Andrew. Yeah, we should ask Harvey. Because even with all his Jewish backers, he's still always got his hand out saying, oh, can you help us? I don't think he stays in Davos. I don't think you're allowed to. You've got to have a certain coloured passport and be of a certain base wealth, starting with a B, I'm pretty sure, before you're allowed there. Or you must have access to billions of dollars. Even if they aren't yours, they'll be taxpayer billions, and that makes you equally as important in the minds of those at the World Economic Forum, of course. So, rotten, stinking human beings.
So why is China still buying stuff in Australia? If that's correct, Donna, why is China buying Australian land? It's called Australia, not China. I agree with you 100%.
Why would they buy it? Well, that's at Langi Kalkal, which for people who don't know Victoria, it's in the Gippsland region, and it is a huge bit of land, phenomenal bit of land. Now, for years, Holden have been driving not only their own vehicles, it's been used by a number of international car companies who bring their models out here under great secrecy and drive around that proving ground, because it is a great proving ground to see if your car can last in Australian conditions. And
Australian roads, that'll work.
Well, that was part of the test as well. But before they'd get them on the road, they would bang them around and people will have seen usually only one aspect of it, and that is the high-speed track. So I forget how long the oval circuit is there, but it's kilometres long and banked. So the idea is you can get a car up to a fairly excessive speed and test how it handles at high speed and all that sort of stuff. But it's everything else that they had there, which was just amazing. The technical support they had for the vehicles, for everything from suspension all the way through to whether the paint was falling off. The proving ground had dirt tracks on it. It had these rumble strips that cars would drive over, and they were so violent. it would shake all the lights in the interior out of some of the European cars. And they'd driven at 20 meters, and it'd be the equivalent of driving at, 50 meters on a really corrugated bit of Australian outback road. So that's where they'd get all those things fixed. The only reason I know about it is that a friend of the family used to work there, and he worked there his entire working life. And the only reason he left was because they sold the joint, and there wasn't enough. They weren't making cars anymore, so he didn't have the job. But he was one of the test drivers, one of the proof drivers. And then when they got out on the roads, that's when they had a bit of fun. They'd drive around the country quite literally, and they'd do it in 14 or 18 days or whatever they'd take to do it. And some of it would be just bitumen only, some of it would be dirt and bitumen, some of it would be solid dirt, as much as they could do. And they put the cars in a really weird kind of paint spec. So you can't really see the lines of the cars. It's a almost like a blurring feature that's printed out and put on these wraps that they put the cars in. And you drive them around, you really can't tell what sort of car it is, just that it's a car. So what's going on with the solar flares? Well, if you... Yeah, go on.
Just going to have my say, as far as I know, 3i Atlas is currently behind the sun, so we can't even see it at this stage. So any solar flares that it would be pulling it towards itself. But you might have some more info, Carl. Understand that we are not scientists.
I just put a really sticky lolly in my mouth.
And that was clever. So, yeah, I'll hide that comment, but yeah.
Thank you.
And
so there are a lot of bullshit videos coming out about 3i Atlas at the moment. There's something about thank you, Japan, for finally giving us clear pictures of whatever the fuzzy fucking thing was that floated across the screen. It's all lies. Some of those pictures might be quite real, but they're probably not of 3i Atlas, and they've been melded with AI into a whole heap of other crap. So don't get too excited about 3i Atlas just yet. As Vince said, we think it's behind the sun. I'm more interested in what the sun was meant to send to us this week, and as far as I can tell, it's been a bit of a letdown. So there were 3 huge solar flares, which happened on Tuesday, Wednesday, I want to say. Now, I don't know whether or not people in Victoria, Tasmania, southern New South Wales, southern South Australia have been seeing auroras in the last 3 or 4 nights, or whether or not there's even been enough clear sky for you to see such a thing. But it was predicted that we would be seeing auroras for 3 or 4 days or 3 or 4 nights, given the huge amount of radiation that the Earth was going to be bathed in. And that radiation was going to get to ground level. So there were 3 different solar bursts, each traveling at different speeds. But interestingly, they were all going to turn up here at the same time. Now, they were predicting radio frequency blackouts and, the usual chaos when we get a solar flare. I haven't had any problems with my internet, my phones. The Starlink, as far as I am aware, is working perfectly. And this is why we have Sunflower in our audience, folks. 3i Atlas. It makes perfect sense to me. And it feels right on my heart. 3 equals CIA. Yep. Very special woman is our Sunflower, folks. Very special woman. Smart. Gonna like that. And hello to Rick. I hope you're doing well, brother. I did have a couple of other things I was going to show you as we slowly floated through the night. Now, you may or may not have heard of this bloke called Thomas Massey. Thomas Massey has been pushing senators and Congress people to sign a petition that essentially forces both houses to ask for all of the files, completely unredacted, of the Epstein variety. Now, they have been given, they needed 70 votes. That meant some Democrats had to cross the floor as well, and some Republicans. They got it. So all those 23,000 documents were released yesterday. Some news is starting to come out, and you'll see that appearing in your mainstream media stories, particularly surrounding Prince Andrew and Fergie and their relationship with Epstein, which these documents can prove was a lot more detailed, a lot more in-depth than either of them had let on. And it had continued for much longer after Epstein supposedly had been banished from their circle. It had continued, their relationship with him had continued on much longer. There is obviously going to be more stories coming out, probably about Andrew. In fact, there are so many rumors now that Andrew looks like there is a 50-50 chance, or better than that chance now, that he is going to potentially wind up in court and having to answer charges. Now, if those charges were pertaining to Virginia Giuffre, I don't know how that would go, because she can't be brought forward to present her evidence, and what happened in the book is not something that can be presented as evidence either. So it would require another girl to come forward who was going to substantiate and essentially say pretty much the same thing, or have more detailed pictures or whatever. And that's what the palace is afraid of. The palace is shit scared that there is a video, because there are rumors of it. There is a video of Andrew with 3 underage girls. And when I say underage, I mean young teenage girls. So they believe that video is in FBI possession, and there is a very high degree of probability that the FBI will work with Scotland Yard to get Andrew on the basis of being a user of trafficked teenagers or trafficked children. So you've probably seen the news that he's been kicked out of Royal Lodge, and this time it's sticking. And Fergie and he have been living there happily for 30 years. Apparently, they live apart, but they live together. The only time they really meet is breakfast and dinner. And there is a little bar that was built in the grounds out the back of that Royal Lodge, where staff and royals could come together in a rather informal sort of way and just have a few drinks after work, so to speak. Apparently, Fergie's been spending a lot of her time there with a woe is me. You must remember, Fergie has only ever sold on influence. I mean, she's, witty, funny, entertaining, all those things. But she also got caught in a big sting the British government had on Andrew. She got caught in a sting gaining influence or profiting from supplying access to Andrew, and even offering access to Prince Charles, as he was in those days, but King Charles. And she was paid $500,000 for that. She got paid $1 million for something else somewhere back in the day. She's been involved in some reasonably high-end scams over the days. So I think Charles, though he likes her, doesn't want her to have anything to do with the royal family anymore. But he can't keep her close, because if, he can't, I beg your pardon, he can't cut her loose, because if he were, she could write a book that would just blow the monarchy apart. Seen an ambulance last night, looked like a bushfire glow on the horizon, bad signal 2 days ago. Oh, okay, righto, bad signal 2 days ago. Well, you do live in the middle of nowhere, Pete, so bad signal for you is probably not completely unexpected. I wouldn't say, but who knows? I hope the garlic's coming along. Vince and I very fondly remember the garlic, don't we?
Yep. And I believe he said that he was picking shortly and that he could probably box some up for us. So, yeah.
Oh, nice. I don't know. I don't know that we're allowed to send it out, are we, to give taster tests to people?
Yeah, I don't know where that would go, crossing borders with,
Yeah.
That could be
we'd probably got to spray it with ivermectin or something. All right. So I've prattled on enough. There's a few other things here, but we can talk about that later. We've got a few interesting changes coming our way.
Yep.
Well, that was my throw to you.
And I just smiled and left it hanging, as in curiosity approach.
Oh, right. Well, that's it, folks. It's been fun. Thanks. Good night.
No, guys, we have for a couple of years now, we have spruited on about special benefits for members, etc. One of which was anything merch that we had, you wouldn't have to pay for postage and so on. Now, we've come up with a way where, through the courtesy of sponsorship, that we've actually now managed to secure a couple of prizes that we're going to do. And maybe one third one. We're still discussing the bits and pieces on that. But the way we're going to work this is that these particular prizes, we're going to announce a competition, and those who are members in the competition, who are members at the time we announce the competition, will get an automatic ticket into the lottery. And the lottery will be specified to be drawn on a date, the prize, or whatever it is. And on that date, one of those tickets will be drawn. But the only way you're going to be able to get that ticket is if you are a member. And depending on your membership level, of Voice of Freedom, yeah.
Yeah. So it's a Voice of Freedom membership, which you get at vofhq.com. And our memberships start, although we might have to put them up because... No, I won't throw that into the mix.
Yeah.
So $2.50. $2.50.
And let's say, just as an example, if you had a $2.50 per fortnight, right? One of these competitions probably run for 6 fortnights. So we are going to the first ticket becomes a $5 a month, or if you have a $2.50, you will also get a ticket every 4 weeks. So every 2 times you renew. So it's a ticket for that size. So that's the only time that we're making an alteration. All the rest will be given a set number of tickets per level of membership. Yeah. And those tickets are free. You're not paying extra for it. It's part of your membership subscription. Right?
So if you're in the base level, paying fortnightly, you'll get a ticket.
Yeah.
In a monthly type draw.
Correct. One ticket.
If you are a bronze member paying monthly, you will get a number of tickets in the competition. You won't have to sign anything for it. You won't have to do anything for it. You don't have to pay anything for those tickets. You're just going to get them.
If the competition ran for 2 months, you would get 2 tickets if you were a bronze member. Right? Your ticket per month.
I thought if bronze members were getting more than a ticket a month.
The bronze fortnight and the bronze monthly are basically equal as such.
Yeah, right.
Right. But if you bought a bronze fortnightly ticket for bought a fortnightly membership for 1 fortnight, and then you stopped it, you wouldn't get a ticket. Right. Because you're not active throughout the competition.
Right. So, yep. You've got to be active. You've got to have an active membership for the length of the competition. The competition will run no more than 6 weeks, but probably 4 to 5. the active part of the competition will probably be 4 weeks. There'll be a week of pre-promotion for it and a week of counting the votes and doing the announcement, or a few days after we've closed the competition, however that works. J1, you're confused. I thought, we've made it.
Yeah, I know it is a little confusing. I'm sorry.
We've made it.
Let's just say you had a silver. Let's say you had a silver one, right, which is $10 every 2 weeks. That means you would get 2 tickets in the first 2 weeks. You'd get another 2 tickets in the second 2 weeks. So now you have 4 tickets in the draw. That's how that works. If we work it on a monthly competition, or a competition that runs for 1 month, that's the better way of putting it. Right. And of course, the higher up you go, the more free tickets you get in that draw. And at the end of the day, the only person that can win it is an active member of the membership base at the time of the competition. So unlike what we do for Sandy, where anybody can purchase a ticket for the Donkey Sanctuary, this one is purely members only.
Yep.
Right. And we've got a couple of prizes.
Yeah, the prizes are going to be a little bit different. One of them, I'll tell you, will be a week's holiday at a magnificent Airbnb in Queensland. 5 days in a magnificent little Airbnb. I think a lot of people would enjoy that. That's probably valued at $1,500 or more. And all you've got to do is park yourself and go and lay out under the canopy for a week, if that's what you do. But there are many other things you can do there rather than just laying around, but it'll be a beautiful place to relax. You can do other certain events. So they have a float tank. So if you want to go and stick yourself in that and get completely weirded out, then you can do that too. So there's that. There is also potentially one of the things we're talking about doing is offering a ticket on another holiday. This one's slightly shorter and only 4 days, but we're thinking about offering a cruise ticket or 2 tickets. So you and your significant other can come along. So we would love you to be part of that. Sunflower's onto it. She said, that must be Mulaney. Yes, you would be staying as a guest of one of the Galactic Larrikins who's helping us out and wants to come on board and not only promote his business, but help promote us and FBN going forward. It's important that you understand that FBN is going to be changing a lot in the new year, and we're going to be trying an awful lot of new things. And in fact, one of those new things will be your ability to call in, and in some cases, call in live. In other cases, call in, leave a message, or leave an answer to a question, to a competition that we're running, and we will put all those together and play them back in various different portions of shows across the FBN network. But that is all coming up next year, and don't know that I want to talk too much more about it. We don't want to let too many cats out of it.
Stop giving away all our secrets. Cut it out. Yeah. I mean, we're trying to build this organisation so that we can get fair, free, and information out to the people and educate them. So
there might be some shiny things to give away as well. You never know. Speaking of which, people who are waiting on those, I have sent some this week. I've got more to send on Monday.
And he's waiting on a delivery from me.
I'm waiting on a delivery from Vincenzo, which shouldn't be too far away. Hopefully it'll be there Monday, because I've got to go and pick up another thing.
It won't.
So,
it won't be.
It won't.
I can tell you that now.
All right.
One thing, though, I should say about this membership thing before we all get too carried away. If you are in South Australia, you are excluded from this.
You can't play
in South Australia. Got to be South Australia, the place where I can't go on it anyway because I'm me. But for some reason, our legislation in South Australia forbids it. But
So
every
if
other
you're in South
state,
Australia,
you can be involved.
right?
So for those who wish
South
to be
Australian members,
South
we will
Australia,
find another way to benefit you.
yes, we will find some other way of doing it.
And this does not impact on our lottery for $2, where you can win $750.
Yep.
Or
that's actually South Australian law that we're using to run that. So
yeah.
it's so back to front. Bloody government, I tell you. So
yeah, 100%.
But yeah, so with Sandy and that lottery is Australia wide. There is no issues with that. As I said, you do not need to be a member. So please do us a favor and do it for Sandy. Get out there and pass it out. Hey, try winning 700. When you want to win $750, go here, right? They don't even have to watch the show. They just need to buy a ticket. And it's all
Post
about
it up on your
helping
Facebook
the
or your Instaturd or your Twattergram or whatever it is, and share it out far and wide. I can tell you that we want to be able to lift our prize pool there, so that we can offer a higher cash prize, and we also want to be able to give more to Sandy with what is going on there at the moment. They need as much help as they can get. So we can only do that with your support. We need to, turn this lottery over a little bit quicker than we currently are.
Yeah, we need it for Sandy. Needs it. She needs it badly.
Sandy really does need it. So, so we want to help.
From my kids, Sunflower. My kids gave me that
nice?
For Father's Day. Okay,
that's very
just in case
cool.
you're wondering.
That's very cool. Yeah. So if you can help out by buying you can help out by buying 20 tickets. That'd be great. Go to merch.vofhq.com and click on the Sanctuary 750 link, and that will be very easily done for you to pick up 1 or 2 or up to 20 $2 tickets for the chance to win 750 and a little bit of gold. We will have some silver to give away, of course, when this lottery goes off, and not sure whether or not we'll be upping the stakes this one or the next one, but we are going to try and do that. But we can only do that, folks, with your support, sharing these lottery links. So and explain when you share them that pretty much from right now, everything that we're going to generate out of this, we're going to give to Sandy just about, because they need it. They've got 108 donkeys down there now, and every one of them needs to be fed. It needs a vet. It needs somebody to come along and do its hooves and its teeth and associated other bits, and every one of them costs money. It's a big day out when the vet comes to town or when the farrier comes to town, and it's very expensive.
So Carl and I have been discussing this about Sandy, and we're looking at increasing the amount. So we're taking it out of our own pocket. It's effectively that helps cover our expenses, but we're looking to increase the amount that we give to Sandy for this. Now, the more we can turn over, the faster we can turn over, the higher the price can go, the quicker the money will get to Sandy. So it's really all about movement. So we really need it pushed out and advertised, right? If we start rolling one of these a week, then, suddenly you'll see the prize might end up at $1,000 going out. And, and the percentage that out of that Sandy would get, instead of being a few $100s, might end up being multiple $100s. So it's all a matter of what you crew do. And who wouldn't mind winning $1,000? And then maybe next time, if it keeps building, it'll be $1,500. We can go up as high as $5,000 for a prize, right, by law. That's how high we can go. So wouldn't that be a goal?
We can go
Sorry.
much higher with the prizes in our members competitions.
Oh, members is a totally different thing, but the law
Yeah.
that we run the lottery on, that's our limit.
Yeah. So would urge you folks to do two things. That's buy a $2 ticket or as many of them as you can right now. But also, please consider becoming a member. You're going to enjoy some of the prizes and contests that we've got coming up next year, I think. And
Spread the word.
Spread the word. It's not going to be a big red pill sell. We want to bring people together. We want you to have family time. We want you to enjoy yourselves. And if your family is a little bit distant because you refuse the jab and you talk crazy shit about, I don't know, straw men and all that kind of stuff, well, you have another family here. And we're ready and happy to go on holidays with you anytime. So keep an eye out. Every single cent goes to the donkeys themselves, nothing to us personally. Thanks so much. Oh, we love you, Sandy. So, yeah, don't ever think that any of the money is donated goes to Sandy and Baz. It doesn't. Every cent, and every cent they get goes to them as well. These two magnificent people who sacrifice a huge amount. And Sandy, while having her own health battles, including a busted little finger at the moment, also has her two elderly grandparents to sort of look after as well. So this is a huge job that they are doing, and they do have a bit of a crew around them. And I know Sandy has always been very open and said, look, if you want to come and have a look, we'd love you to come and have a look. But invariably people turn up when jobs need to be done, and it's hard to give people a tour around the place when I saw a video the other day, I don't know how old it is, but they had to move all 100 and however many it was donkeys from one paddock to another just to change for feed and that sort of stuff. So this is something they wind up doing by themselves. Thankfully, the donkeys most of the time play along, I think. But more help the better.
Doesn't buy them a coffee, because then they can get troublesome.
Well, yes, yeah, you don't want to go sticking stimulants into them. And as I mentioned, folks, if you are on a bit of land, you might have some sheep, you might have other animals that need a little bit of protection. You could have a quiet word with Sandy. They do have guard donkeys. I know it sounds stupid, but donkeys are very protective. Donkeys don't like dogs at all. So if you're in an area that has wild dogs around, put a couple of donkeys on your property. You won't have any problem with wild dogs. They are very protective. They're almost like alpaca. Part of the reason that part of their history. So bear that in mind. And if you were interested, then I'm sure Sandy and Baz would be able to tell you about the husbandry side of things. And look, they look after 108. But surely, if you've got a bit of acreage and something in the paddock they can chew on, you might be able to take two on and make two less mouths that Sandy and Baz need to feed in their very wide extended family. But we will do everything we can.
And our first dad joke for the night: do they make an ass of themselves? Okay. 3 tickets at $6. There's your cup of coffee. Thanks, Alan.
You're a gentleman, man. Thank you. Donkeys will beat up a hyena. Yep, absolutely they will. I saw I don't know, something scrolled past me the other day, and there was a woman who was walking up to a fenced-in donkey who was running around carrying a dog in its mouth, like shaking the shit out of it. And she said, put the dog down. Daryl, put the dog down. You're not meant to carry the dog like that. Puts the dog down. The dog runs off. So, yeah, they are very protective. And they don't like dogs. So they will beat up a hyena. They'll beat up most things, So anyway. All right. Well, look.
It's that time of the day where the waving wonder does this.
Hello. He's a good man. As you are good men and women. we all try to be every day. Some with greater or lesser success. We'll see how it goes. This weekend, many people tonight along the southeast corridor of Queensland have gone through just a massive thunderstorm just before the show went to air. I was a bit worried about whether or not we were actually going to get it get the show on the air, because the thunderstorm was right over me for some period of time. But we did successfully. Yep, yeah, it's good. Can we get to camp out at Sandy's? Well, that would be up to Sandy and Baz. I'll talk to them about it. There might be something that we could do along those lines. Speaking of campouts, I'm going to mention the My Place campout, which is happening 12, 13, 14 of December. $25 per adult. Kids are free for the whole weekend. Bring your swag, bring your tent, camper, caravan, or motorhome, and there'll be talks, there'll be fun, music, food, a bit of bushcraft at the Burrig Gully Bush Camp for the My Place 2025 campout. I'll get Luke Hart on to have a bit of a chat about that and whoever else is organising this. I'm sure there'll be a contingent from the Gold Coast heading up. And if you're wondering where Burrig Gully is, it's up near Gunalda, which is north of Gympie, south of Maryborough. So that'll give you a bit of an idea. And there's an outlook of how big that park is. It's all off grid, so be prepared for that. And please, I was talking to Annette today, the cruise director, cruise person-y thing. If you want to come on this cruise, please go forth and give her a call. You can look around. You might be able to find that you can pay less for it. Just saying, between you, me, and the gatepost. Rolly gave me a call. Actually, Rolly's booked to come, so I'm really looking forward to that. It'd be great having you on the cruise. And we'll get a lesson on how to create silver out of him. And he was able to find the beds cheaper. And there we go. That is the link to find cheaper rooms than I paid for, buggers. So bookings.cruiseguru.com.au/app/o/cruise/o/passenger/creation. Anyway, if you get to cruiseguru.com.au and type in you want to go from a cruise on a carnival boat from Brisbane in May, it'll bring up the only two that they have. And we're on May 4 to 8. Look forward to seeing you on it. It would be truly spectacular to have your company. And like I say, you'll pay a little bit less if you go to that Cruise Guru site. So thank you to Rolly for the tip on that one today. Appreciate it, brother. And maybe that makes it a little bit more affordable, because I know they're offering the room that I've got for just under $200 less than I paid for it. So that'd be money that I would have put on the bar for you to drink. Well, I'd only do that because there will be no dickheads on the roads. There might be a few on the boat, but there'll be no dickheads on the road.
You let one ant stand up to us, then they all might stand up. Those puny little ants outnumber us 100 to 1. And if they ever figure that out, there goes our way of life. It's not about food. It's about keeping those ants in line. That's why we're going back.
Does anybody else want to stay?